Look at the time. It's time for another scene set in Edition of the Dark Crusade Season 2. Hello, everybody. Tonight, we set our inglorious scene with our inglorious friend, Brigita. Lovely young neonate of Clan Cappadocian. And she has been very busy recently, trying to clear up her little problem. A very breachy problem. A very unquiet problem. Very loud problem, one might say. One could even argue she was in violation of the law. As she has organized a brief meeting with a member of her clan while her ghoul goes off to perform an errand for her. The other side of town. You, Brigita, are in the Prophet's Quarter.
Looking gloomy.
And you are headed to the cemetery there.
The only place that feels like home.
The Prophet's Quarter is actually quite active and busy and has a lot going on. There's actually a healthy nightlife here. More than a few people out on the streets.
Well, then I'll just make sure that my hood covers most of my face. And my
Some
hair.
people are walking around. Others are leaning at a wall and talking. Some are drinking. You can hear the laughter and the brawling from inside some taverns. And you can hear the barking, whining, and growling of animals in a nearby alleyway. As well as the cheers of those who sound like onlookers. But you ignore these ultimate trivialities.
Yeah, these are worldly things. They don't interest me.
Have a pat on the head. And yes, you head towards the cemetery. Actually a decent size. Seems to be well looked after. But do you want to make me a perception awareness check?
Okay. Three successes.
Okay. You can sense the Yes, you can sense the sequela of this place. You see it in the grass, in the plant life, in the crumbling gravestones. Necromancy has been used here. This place feels quite entropic.
Love it.
It is very, how to say, carefully managed, though.
I see.
It is not overabundant. Life still grows here to a lesser extent. In fact, it's strange. It's almost as if it's used to prune back the plant life here, rather than to just destroy it or corrupt it. Seems to actually be used almost elegantly in a way.
Interesting. Necromantic gardening.
In a sense, but
Can I hear anything with my heightened senses?
the cemetery is very quiet at night. You're heading in from the north side. There's an entrance on each side, and the pathways meander a little bit until reaching the center. You can see a fairly small shack where the gravekeeper would be, or the groundskeeper. There is also a small mausoleum at the center, towards the center.
Is the keeper the one I'm looking for, or someone else?
You know Baylor runs a cemetery, but you don't know if he does it through intermediaries or not.
So I suppose would it be wise to ask for him?
Yes, maybe. Or you could approach the shack, see if there's anyone in. You know he is seen here quite often, so even if he does run it for intermediaries, you could probably find him directly here.
Yeah, but I don't know what he looks like. Apart from the fact that he's one of us.
Asta would give you his description.
Okay.
He's a man with a little bit of a kind of semi-developed hunchback, but not completely. So he's always a little bit bent forward. Like you, he's heavily robed. Has a very distinctive, large facial scar that runs down one side of his face.
Mm-hmm.
A burn scar. Also, surprisingly stocky-looking man for one of the Cappadocians. He's renowned for, I wouldn't say renowned, but he does have a fairly, he's fairly large. His minor hunchback makes him look a little bit smaller and less stocky than he actually is.
Okay, so I'm looking for a stocky hunchback fellow with a burnt face.
Yes, and he is native to Odessa, so he is well, he's more than likely Arabic.
Well, I suppose we will be able to somewhat communicate. Maybe.
But yes, where do you go looking for him?
I will start checking the sheds. If I don't find him there, I'll check the mausoleum. I'll just look around, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, the house you can actually see is lit from the inside. You can see sort of ambient light from the edges of the door. So you know someone's inside.
Does that someone fit the description I was given?
No, you're looking at a door. You can see the ambient light coming from like around the door.
I mean, could I like peep through the keyhole? Or knock on the door?
Um,
I mean, I'm a weirdo, so I would probably just peep.
sure, peep through the keyhole.
What do I see through the keyhole?
Um, roll me perception alertness because you're peeping through a tiny hole in a door.
Okay.
Difficulty is 8.
One success.
Okay. Well, you do see the man in question, but that's about all you see.
That's enough for me. I'll knock on the door.
He snaps around and begins heading towards the door. Opens it, pushes it out, so you may want to take a step back.
Yeah, I will take a step back.
Yeah, as he opens, and yeah, you see a man, a slight hunchback, um, fairly measured beard, oldish, looks like he's in his late 40s.
You mean old as fuck for that time?
Well, as long as you make it past your 20s, you can actually live up until like the 70s. It's just infant mortality rates are really high.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in his late 40s, has thick eyebrows now. A moderate beard. You can see a very distinctive burn scar running down one side of his face, his right side, your left. He's got fairly rough, large hands.
Is he eyeing me funny?
His baggy robes kind of mask how stocky he is, and his rather eerie eyes just sort of shift towards you.
Good evening, brother.
You must be the new Cappadocian.
I am Brigita. Um, may I have a moment of your time?
You catch me at a bad time, but I can make some for a sister.
Thank you, brother. I have a bit of a bad time myself.
So I have heard.
Yes, this is the reason why I come to you tonight, although I have been meaning to seek you out for some time now. Just looking weirdly around, by the way. Not making eye contact or anything like that, because that's weird.
He will continue to stare at you, by the way. If you avert your eyes, they follow you. Or his follow yours, rather. So what is it that you require of me?
Well, I find myself in a bit of a predicament. As it is, I had an accident while hunting, and I was seen by a member of the guard that I'm trying to fix things, but I don't have enough means within the city yet. And I was wondering if you would be able or willing to assist me for in exchange of a boon, of course.
Ah, but this is I have already assisted you.
Is a bit twitchy at that, like trying to process. Uh, have you perchance came upon a corpse with a particular kind of injury?
Yes, and when the local priesthood encountered it, I had to do a lot of rationalizing to get them to stop investigating.
I see. I am very grateful for that. Is the corpse still? Uh, is it destroyed? Does it exist still?
The body is currently within my hands. I had to procure it from the priests and physicians involved in the investigation of the death.
I see. Uh,
However, I wish to ensure that this figure had a peaceful slumber.
would I be able to acquire it from you?
Oh, what do you say?
The corpse. If she can get it from him so she can ash it and be done with it. Or he already done that because I didn't understand.
Um, do you ask if you can procure it from him? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I would wish to see this man given a proper burial, given that his life was taken from him prematurely. He was a good man.
Brigida is completely expressionless when it comes to that.
An honest man, all things taken into account.
completely unfazed.
You are very quiet. You'll need to speak into your mic more.
Yes, she's completely unfazed by all that. The only thing that would probably shake her if this person had some knowledge that she didn't have. Therefore, that knowledge would be lost, and that would probably shake her. Other than that, good, honest person, who cares, right? So yes, it's completely like expressionless and unfazed by this. Uh, I wouldn't be against providing a proper burial. I have been doing that for many years, as long as it can be properly covered up.
I've already done much to cover up this incident. The body is already in my hands.
Do you require for the body to be buried while it is intact?
I would prefer it over the alternative.
Fair enough. Uh, I wouldn't know where I could bury it, however. And she's thinking, kind of like, maybe I could put it in my basement.
But the real question is, how much are my services worth to you?
Well, you have already done enough to help a big part of this situation. So I suppose a major boon is in order here.
Should you grant me this, I will return the body to you for you to do with it as you wish.
I will grant you this. However, I wouldn't want to uh, disregard your desires regarding the burial. If you can point me to a place where I can perform the burial, I will do so.
Both this cemetery and just an upper list will do.
Do I need to get permission from someone to do this there?
You're very quiet again.
God damn it, it's right next to my mouth. So she asked pretty much if she will require some sort of permission to to bury the body there.
That is something I already have under control.
Alright, in that case, I can head over there and perform the burial. Ah, do you have a card I can use?
I have several.
Thank you. I think I need to borrow one and I will return it to you as soon as I'm finished. I see the corpse now, rather.
This inside.
She kind of waits for him to kind of show her in, cause awkward as fuck. She kind of tries to look inside the door, see if she can see the body there.
So what he does is he actually has a small building on the other side of the cemetery, where bodies to be buried are kept.
Mm,
Not too dissimilar from an actual crypt.
mm,
That's on the yeah. You went to from north side, so yeah, it's more or less on the other side of the cemetery. He kind of leads you through one of the winding paths, and then across the short frayed grass, sidestepping a lot of the gravestones and burial sites, being careful not to step on any of them or trip over anything. It's very dark out. There's almost no natural light here at all.
well, thank Doug for our specs.
Yeah. You actually don't have a lot of oil specs, so it doesn't actually completely offset the penalty. But you can at least see. It eventually takes you to this building, um, which is actually made of proper stone. It's built to be fireproof. And it takes you in. And for for a room filled with bodies that have kind of almost been tucked away as if you were in a modern morgue, um, it actually doesn't smell bad at all. None of the bodies smell of decay here.
Mm-hmm.
They appear to be incredibly well preserved. And it doesn't take you long to find the person that you killed, as he just guides you over to them.
I
He
can
actually
see
needs to
the
use
one, right?
a small step ladder to walk up. At which point he begins out of the opening where the body's kept. He begins pulling the legs, and then grabs it by the waist.
Kind of just grab the body and just carry it.
And no,
Is it?
he does that for you.
I can do that.
Yeah, but
Is it covered with anything? Like a what call it, that white thing that you cover corpses with.
yes, I believe it's wrapped in linen.
Yeah, that thing. Is he covered with anything?
Pardon?
Is he covered with anything?
Yeah, he's covered in linen.
Okay. Well, Brigita will kind of extend her arms to like tell him to, you know, pass it here or something? Like it's a bundle.
He will put the body on a table on the left side of a room. About the table's about the length and width of the average person.
Mm. Well, she will go there and will uncover the face to make sure that it's the guy. Because, yay for eidetic memory, man. Can't forget shit.
If you're auditing memory, you can easily identify this as the person you killed. As he begins to unwrap the linen around the wounds, it's exceedingly obvious.
Yeah.
It is strange though. The body is almost perfectly preserved.
Hmm.
Let's see.
So there is a body preservation ritual, or is it because of the climate in the room?
Yeah, the body's undergone rigor mortis, but it has not
So it's stiff.
stiff, but it hasn't putrefied.
Well, technically, it hasn't been that long, right? Like time wise, when would that be happening in regards to the event? Because I don't think I would let it sit there.
Yeah. Actually, do you want to roll me perception medicine?
Kinda. Yes, and kinda no, because I haven't developed my medicine yet.
Uh,
Because I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know what to do this month. It's
okay,
very
3 successes,
irritating.
not bad. Okay, so as you know, it hasn't undergone rigor mortis. It also hasn't gone liver mortis. The blood has not settled on the lower portion of the body.
What
Um,
didn't I drain the dude?
pardon?
Didn't I drain it?
Yeah, but there's still going to be
Yeah, yeah.
remnants of blood in the system. You would still see even unless something has been drained so completely there is no blood at all. Um, which is usually even exsanguination is usually not completely total. Even when you take 10 blood points, there'll usually be a bit of blood left in the body.
Mm.
And usually what you see when that happens is that the liver mortis kind of appears in like faint pinpricks or blotches, as opposed to um, the entire lower portion or dependent portion of the body becoming purple. It's usually very very inconsistent, um, spotty and blotchy. Um, you don't see that in this body, which means it must have been taken and preserved very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also comes across as somewhat unnatural.
This body seems to be preserved very well, brother.
It is a specialty of mine.
It is something I would be very interested in learning someday, if you would be willing to share the knowledge.
Maybe. if you learn to stop exsanguinating mortals on the street.
Well, it's not something I planned. It was an accident.
It never is. But a sin it is nonetheless.
There are many different sins for many different people. That's all she will say. And she will reach to lift the body and take it outside to put it in the cart.
Okay. Um. Hmm. You don't have politics, do you?
Politics?
Yeah. Okay.
Politics?
So
What's that?
this is just to define your action. What you have paid him a boon for his services, correct? I
Yeah.
assume you're not paying him a boon for the body because you're effectively doing what he would have done with the body anyway, unless you intend to ash the body.
No, I don't intend to ash the body. I intend to follow what he wanted to do with the body.
Okay.
I'll even read the fucker his last rites.
Hooray.
I mean, I could make him a coffin too, but that takes time, so linen it is.
BS. Um, about a couple of hours later, as you take the body and depart from Baylor, you'll be approached by your ghoul.
That's after I bury it or in between?
It's when you arrive back to your haven.
Okay.
I assume you'll be keeping the body in your haven.
Well, I assumed I would be going to bury it. Wait, do I need to do something specific to take the body there and bury it?
You could, but keep in mind you sent your ghoul off to run an errand for you, remember? To deal with the other half of this issue?
I mean, yeah.
And they can't really find you if you're off, if you haven't really informed them of where you're going. Or you're in a place where they don't know where you'd be at that
Yeah,
time.
but wouldn't it be weird if they see me carting a dead body in my haven? Okay.
Not if you just sneak the body in. They don't necessarily know what's in the cart.
I could go to the haven. Well, yeah, I'll take it to the haven. Whatever. I suppose I need to do a sneak roll, right?
Not really, no.
Oh, fine.
It's at the end of the day, you live in the equivalent of a shack.
A hovel, please.
A shack. Um, uh, the neighborhood you live in isn't particularly. I mean, it would be. It'd be. In fact, you probably live in a slum. Um,
Yeah, of course I live in a slum.
so
I'm a poor
it's not
motherfucker.
like there are a ton of people around who even want to ask if they saw anyway. And if they see a body that's largely wrapped in linen, they might see someone you've killed, but they won't necessarily see someone you've exsanguinated. There's a big difference there.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll take the body in the haven for now.
You can always bury them later, and it's a lesser priority, because if you were to bury the body now, you'd be spending a lot of time doing that, and you wouldn't have time to complete your other task.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay.
So, your ghoul returns to your haven. He's actually there when you arrive back.
Okay.
He kind of bows at you when you approach.
Do you have any news for me?
Our new affiliate has made has made contact with our target, madame.
Okay. And
Uh,
where are we to meet them?
She said he will be meeting her at his home approximately an hour from now.
Do you know where his home is?
She was given the time and place.
Okay. Does he live alone?
I could not tell you.
Well, I guess we'll have to go and see.
Yes, we shall.
Let us be off then.
I believe his patrol ends soon.
Good. We should be waiting for him at his home then. I shall. You will have to. I suppose you'll have to make sure that the girl doesn't see anything.
That may be challenging given her profession, my lady.
Well, in that case, then you have to make sure she doesn't run away.
I will see to it that she is appropriately silenced, should the worst occur.
Thank you. Let us be off. We'll have to see if this house is empty.
Yes. And you make your way over to the location that your affiliate has gotten you. You end up entering Hyatt's Bazaar proper. Verac. Something of a free zone.
Yeah.
A lot of Canaanites here.
Mm.
Also a lot of people. But the guardsman's home is actually off on a sort of a thin stretch of path. It's effectively it's a side path in between the large roads and pathways that make up the uh, that make up a main line of commerce that kind of all converge on the bazaar itself.
Hmm.
It's a fairly humble home. It's attached to several others, but it appears to be its own entity.
Do I see anything or hear anything inside?
No, no, you don't hear any activity. You're here about half an hour early.
So the house is empty pretty much.
This is currently empty.
What I want to do is pretty much stealth it and break in.
Okay. So first, because this is a fairly busy part of the
I'll have the ghoul stand watch.
city, yeah, roll me deck stuff first of all. It's
Stand.
just a standard diff, yeah.
Okay.
No one's rolling against you. You just need to get a success. Okay. Good
Wow.
thing no one's rolling against you.
Wow. One. Like, you know what? At least there is one.
Yeah, you make your way around the other side of the building. It's a lot more quiet there. While the front door kind of exists on a side path, the back door, like many of these buildings, just more or less exists in a straight alley that's not as well maintained, and it's quite dirty and filled with rubbish and detritus and debris. You can see a few holes in the walls where rats and mice have made their homes, and like even a bird's nest on a sort of
Is there any windows that I can unlock and sneak myself inside?
you can try and use dexterity legerdemain to you can either okay so you can either use strength athletics to bust the door down, or you can use dexterity legerdemain to pick it open.
Yeah, I have better pull for strength athletics, but I'm going for the stealthy one,
Yeah,
so
strength athletics is quite loud. That risks you gathering attention.
yeah. So I will roll for the dex ledger domain and I'm going to burn a willpower to make sure I don't botch because
Okay.
the pool is small. Okay, so
That's two
two success.
successes. So we go at one success is 10 minutes. Two successes would be five. It takes you about it takes you around like 5 to 10 minutes just to open the door. Um, this isn't really your forte, and you don't really have the tools on hand. You kind of have to improvise with the garbage that's on the ground. But actually, no. Let's see. I want to check your possessions because you might have it. Don't want to sell you short.
Well, I don't have lockpicks. I should have, but I don't.
No, you don't have them. Okay. Never mind. You can buy them though. But you paid a prostitute instead. Um. So
Yeah, imagine that paying for a prostitute that I won't even enjoy.
I don't know. You can drain her like everybody else. Um, but you pick the lock open after about 5 minutes. Your ghoul does stand watch. Kind of blocks one end of the alley for you until
So, describe me where I could possibly hide in there so I can, like, so he doesn't see me when he arrives with a prostitute.
Um, hmm. Yeah, it is unlikely to be more than 2 rooms. So, because of the house's small size,
I'm small.
what one?
I could hide in the closet or under the bed.
There isn't a cellar or a closet. He's not rich enough to own one of these.
I can hide under the bed. Tell me he has a bed.
He does have a bed. Um, he has a bed. He doesn't really have a wardrobe. His clothes are basically being hung. From string that's attached to either side of the walls. He does have a small. He also does have a small tub for baths, and he can collect the water.
If I get myself under the bed, would
He
they
also
be?
does have a fireplace for cooking food and a small table with a couple chairs.
Yeah, okay, he has a house. Let me ask you. If I
Wow. Okay. That just increased difficulty of that roll by 1.
Come on. Okay, if fuck. See my train of thought, man. If I get under the bed, will I be able to somehow uh push my sword upwards and stake him while he's laying on the bed?
You want to hide underneath a bed.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see any other place for hiding. I'm not gonna get in the hearth and get fired.
Yeah, if you only have a place to hide. Um, is kind of because his bed is in a separate room, so you could hide, basically just kind of like
Yeah,
hide around the corner.
but I was thinking, if I'm under the bed, if I stick the sword far enough, I could get them both. Assuming I don't botch the roll. And he's going to his bed, I'm assuming.
Yep. Presumably.
Well, that's where people usually do the thing. I mean, back in the day, I don't believe they had sex dungeons.
So you want to hide under the bed, yes? Where are you gonna have your ghoul hide?
What?
You have a ghoul.
Yeah, the ghoul is going to be keeping watch outside of the house.
Which
Just
side? Front side or back side?
probably the front and trying to look inconspicuous, probably.
Okay. He can do that. That's easy. That's fine. You won't have to do anything for that. He can just stand outside.
The only thing that worries me is whether or not I would have enough leverage to position the sword in such a way that it could do the thing I wanted to do.
What's your sword?
It's a bastard sword. I
I think
also
I
have
just defined that as a great sword. I believe I just defined that as a
well,
great sword.
yeah, it is a 200, but yeah, it's yeah.
Oof. Yeah. Um.
Great swords are really not that big in reality, however. Actually, compared to claymores, they really aren't that great.
I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty damn big.
Have you held one?
I'm not. I'm not going to be questioned in my game.
Yeah, but I know
I
most.
will. I will. I will, for the purposes of rule of cool, allow you. However, roll me. Roll me deck stuff. Actually, yeah, this will be deck stuff.
Don't budge, don't budge, don't budge. 4.
Oh, 4 successes. Wow, that's actually incredibly fortunate.
Is it though?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're going to wait. But what have you done with the door you've picked locked, by the way?
I closed it.
Okay.
Well, I didn't break it.
No, you didn't break it. I was just wondering if you'd left it open or not.
No, I'm not an
Um,
idiot.
then yeah, you wait for about 10 minutes until you begin to hear the front door unlock. And you begin to hear the guardsman who caught you with his new female companion.
I can tell it's him by his voice, right?
Yeah, you remember the voice.
I remember everything.
She sounds weirdly uneasy, but your
I
Corey sounds quite at ease.
I wonder why that might be. Maybe there's an eerie presence somewhere in the house.
Or outside. But no, as you predict, they begin to disrobe and make their way onto the bed.
Okay, I will want to make sure that he's the one on bottom. Will I be able to tell by the way it shifts?
There's absolutely no way for you to control that or guarantee that.
Not even by hearing?
No, that's perceiving. You can't make him. No, that's not how that works.
Well, I mean, I could probably see them when they're going on the bed, and then I can predict their movements by how the shift shifts, I suppose.
Yeah. But it is the person you hired, it's the lady you hired that is laying on the bed.
Then I will wait for a switcheroo.
Okay, there is one.
Okay, then I guess I'll have to try and stake him.
I assume you just make a general strike on his body.
Yeah, it's not cold. But what should I roll for it? Is it going to be based on dex or based on strength?
Any attack is any attack unless it's explicitly stated otherwise is dexterity plus the skill of the weapon or your.
Oh no, I'm just thinking because I have to uh stick
So
him in the mattress.
it's dex melee difficulty 6. It would be difficult. Yes, difficulty 6.
Please don't botch. Please don't botch. And I can't spend willpower on that, right? No.
No.
3 successes.
Okay, roll me your damage. It's strength plus 4 from a greatsword. Plus your successes, plus your rollover successes. So your successes -1.
Okay, so 2 plus 4 plus 3, that's 9.
That's 1, 2, 3 lethal damage. No, 4.
4. Question, does it go through both of them or through just the guy?
Just through the guy.
Okay.
Um, 1 second, I'm just looking up a rule. Okay, he lets out a massive raucous scream as he is struck with the sword. You do enough damage to daze him, which means he can't react. As you literally impale his body from underneath the bed.
Can't he move though? Can't he do anything like jerk?
No, he has to spend his next turn shaking off the attack, which actually we should roll initiative.
Because if
But it's not relevant. It's not
because
relevant.
if he can't move, I would probably want to grapple the girl and snap her neck or something.
You'll have to make your way out from under the bed to do that.
Oh, so that would be the move.
That would take a full turn to get out from under the bed.
Okay, then I guess I have to trust my ghoul.
Yeah, which she obviously screams in shock and terror, and very quickly puts 2 and 2 together as she begins to as she basically grabs a cloth and begins running out of the building. But you this is your surprise attack, so you can attempt to make another attack on the guard.
From under the bed?
Yes. Unless you intend to get out from under the bed, in which case that would be an action, then we would have to roll initiative, because then he could strike you.
Well, I guess I can. Would it be any different from the main attack? Does it have any penalties? How does it work?
The same dice roll.
Okay, then let's do this. Ooh,
You miss.
I miss.
Okay. Okay, now we're definitely rolling initiative.
Ah, fuck.
He's just a guard. He's not a threat. Okay, he gets 11 initiative, which is actually not that bad considering his rather lackluster bonus pool. His
Well,
modifier.
I have the same fucking modifier.
And look, you beat him.
Yeah, but my action is getting out of the bed.
You also rolled a d20.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Fuck. Too much fucking. Yeah, sorry. Well,
You get the same result.
bitch.
All right. So
It really wanted me.
the prostitute's running away, so she's not involved in this combat at all. She is noping out of this combat as she flees.
Yeah, but does the ghoul catch her or something?
We'll see.
Ooh, juicy. Okay, let's focus on my fight then.
Hmm.
Fuck.
All right. Now he doesn't. He doesn't have armor. He does have a weapon he can draw that's near his bed, because that was a sword he took home with him, with his companion.
It would take an action to draw the sword, though, right?
He's not drawing it. He's just picking it up and striking with it. Also, I've allowed people to draw weapons and not have that count as an action in the past.
Okay.
I will just say if that was an action, Margot would be dead right now. So.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
Can my action be getting out of bed and being in defense position?
You can't do full defense and take a full move at the same time. Like moving out from under the bed and getting up out of prone is a full action.
Okay. Fine, let's take some damage.
All right. He's gonna hit you.
He's gonna try.
He's got wound penalties, so his dice pool's a bit lower.
Like, I have fortitude, I don't give a fuck. And I have leather armor. What you gonna do?
He's gonna hit you for 4 successes.
Well, let's
So
see what
that's.
he gets in terms of damage.
Let's see. Yep, 3. He does 5 lethal to you.
Big whoop.
As he clutches his wound, he summons his strength, grabs his sword with both hands, and just tries to cleave you apart.
And I don't I soak any of that?
You can roll your leather armor plus your stamina plus your fortitude.
Okay, one sec. Leather. Blah. Leather is 2 plus 3 plus 2. That's 7. Uh, uh, 7 to 10, right?
Yeah, you have 2 fortitude, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 fortitude plus 3 stam plus 2 armor. Wow, that's an incredibly good roll. You're so cool with it.
Yeah. I think I'll give him a very sinister smile because I'm a creep.
Okay. He just sees his sword strike bounce off you, even though he knows for a fact that he got a killing blow on you. And grunts. He doesn't speak because this is such a bizarre and
You can consider this
spontaneous
laughter
situation.
is in character.
He, yeah,
Is he shaking in fear yet?
um, it's been 6 seconds. Give it another 6 seconds.
Well, I would try to intimidate him, but that requires charisma, I think. So,
That requires not being a Cappadocian.
I mean, why aren't Cappadocians intimidating?
They're just terrible at any social role in regards to mortals.
I mean, can't I use my manipulation instead? I guess, yeah, I have the penalty. So,
Oh
fuck
no,
that.
this grim visage presents the Cappadocian of a +2 difficulty in any social roles that would be hindered by a
Yeah.
corpse-like appearance. So actually, a corpse-like appearance wouldn't really hinder you when you're trying to look scary or monstrous.
Okay. So I would actually like it if I could be able to intimidate him into dropping his sword, so it would be easier for me to just drain him and ash him.
Oh, he's not going to. If
Like
you
that.
want to, you might be able to intimidate him into dropping his sword, but keep in mind if he did that, he would also run.
Hmm. In that case, I will. I will strike him with my sword. I
Okay.
will sword him, if you will.
Okay, he's going to take a half movement action towards the door, and he's going to go full defense.
Yeah. Four successes. And why did he take defense when he did a move and a hit and he hit me? That's not fair. I wasn't able to do that.
You didn't declare that you didn't declare a parry action. Well, no, because you'd already
Yeah, because
you went before him. Did you just? Oh,
no, you said that getting out of the bed that would be a full action. That's
oh
that.
yeah, no. So what happens? You got out of the bed. That was
Yeah,
your action for that turn.
yeah. He
He
hit me.
attacked you. We go back to the top of initiative.
Yeah.
So he can decide.
But
He can make the decision to instead of attacking for this turn to take a defensive action instead, and that would
but
parry an attack that is
but
above him
he
in the initiative
attacked
chain.
me. Yeah, but he attacked me.
No, he attacked you last round. This is a new round because you act before him. Remember?
Yeah, but uh, okay.
He only gets one success, so you still get him with 3 successes.
Okay, so it's 2 + 4 + 3, 7, 2, 9. Again. Holy shit. Fuck.
You did 5 damage to him before, you're right?
Yeah,
Then that is enough to kill him.
that is 2 damage. Oh. Oh, okay. Can I still drain him?
Um, so this is what happens.
Mm.
Uh, he weakly raises his sword to parry your strike, as you more or less just cut straight through. You strike with enough force that it bats his blade to one side as you cleave open his torso, um, causing him to drop and thud to the floor, dying from the shock of the pain.
Mm. if I lick his guts, do I get anything from it?
What? No.
But he's bleeding everywhere. Can't I just, you know,
I don't know what you're trying to do. What do you mean lick his guts? What the heck?
because he's bleeding and I want to take some blood from him.
You could drain him.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I drain him, then he will have the thing. Then I'd have to ash him and probably burn his house down.
Do whatever you feel is necessary.
Okay, then I will drain him. How much would I get from him being in this state?
Um, if you begin draining him only a few seconds after he dies, you'll be able to drain 10 blood points from him. That takes you over your appointed total. You can only go up to 13 blood points, so you would be able to drain 7 from him.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, I'll take the blood. Then I'm going to lose one blood. And I'm going to. Uh, 3 plus. I need to fix my medicine, man. Fuck. I'm also gonna burn a willpower, because why not?
Are you rolling to just ash the body?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, one success. Wow, and that's for the willpower that I burned.
Okay. We've gotten 2 willpower back this scene for being a creep show. Because you did terrify the guardsman.
Then then I'll be fine with it.
But you managed to after draining the body largely dry. Largely.
Yeah, I'm also looking for that.
You simply place your hand on the head of the body, one of the few uninjured parts of the body, as it slowly begins to ash away.
All right, I will go back down and get out of the back door. I'm going to attempt to see what my ghoul has done with the working girl and see what I can do to burn the house down.
Keep in mind, this building is attached to several others. If you set this building on fire, you're largely going to burn the entire block down.
Okay, so I don't need to burn it because I asked the body. So yeah, I will probably have to have my ghoul clean up the bloods after.
I will give you a common sense warning. If you were to set the house on fire, you are only drawing more attention to this
Yeah,
event.
I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna send the ghoul to clean up the blood. Because I asked the body, but the bed is still gonna be bloody, the floor is still gonna be bloody, and I don't know where the girl is.
No. You walk out, I presume you walk around the back door for the purposes of being subtle.
Yes, for the back.
You walk around the back door. And you see that, yes, your ghoul is there. He currently has a half-naked lady in hand, very muffled, screaming and crying and desperately struggling against him, but he seems to have her in a pretty firm grip. It should be worth noting, she didn't actually perceive anything supernatural.
No, she didn't.
She did witness a murder.
Yeah, but she has seen my ghoul because he hired her.
Hmm. And her
I
currently has her held.
Yeah, I will look at him and I will pretty much show him, drag my thumb through my throat, like kill her pretty much. But not there. I assume he won't do it there. So I'll probably just nod him to come towards the back in the dark, and then I'll do that.
Okay. Um, as he as he goes as he nods and he goes to turn away, the woman briefly manages to slip his hand, not the grapple, but being muffled. Um, as she sobs and begs you, please don't kill me, please. I didn't see anything. I won't tell anyone. I'll do anything.
I will look at him and
He very quickly, and you can tell he applies potence to reapply the grapple. And rather violently forces her against a wall. She just sobs.
I will look at him and nod, so to make sure he does it. No mercy.
Okay.
I'm gonna need to take a shower after this.
What he does is he again he applies his grapple so he can hold her back with one arm. As he pulls out a dagger, um, and will slit the throat of this young woman.
Then I will motion with my eyes to put her inside the house.
He'll drag her up to the back door and simply
Well, I might take it from here. I'll just lift her up, and I'm going to put her on the bed. So if they go in there, they would think that the blood is hers, and that the guy just bailed because he killed her or something like that. I'm gonna frame this motherfucker. Yeah. So actually, I'm not gonna place her on the bed. I'm gonna place her on the floor where the blood pool is,
okay.
and then I'm gonna bail.
Okay. You close the back door and you begin to make your way out of the area, and nobody the wiser as to what has occurred this night. And I think there, on this rather gruesome scene of killings, we can end the scene there. Thank you, Claire, for playing. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Yay.